Hey everyone, Jeff Darling here with Tower Marketing. Hey, I just want to come to you today and I want to talk about a topic that I think is the foundation or one of the cornerstones of any marketing campaign. And it's something that I learned recently that just made a lot of sense to me. And I think we as business owners miss this when we are doing our marketing. And it is called one sentence persuasion. Some of you may have heard of this. Some of you may have read the book. Very, very short book. It's a great read, and I would suggest that you guys look it up and when you get a chance and read it. It took me about 45 minutes to go through the whole thing. And I've heard this before, and I've heard this through other sources, but I never really took time to focus on it to see what it really is saying. And when I actually read it and began to focus on it, I began to understand its power and how we need to, when we are doing our marketing, this needs to be a cornerstone behind what we are trying to say. And it goes with our story that we're trying to tell. So just to give you guys a high level overview today of what this is. But when you talk about the one sentence persuasions, here's what you need to know is that everybody needs these things. They need to either, when you are, let me take a step back. What I mean to say is, when you are working and when you are getting out a message, every single one of your potential customers, what they are looking for is one of these things in their life. Number one is you need to encourage their dreams. You need to justify their failures. You need to alleviate their fears. You need to confirm their suspicions. And you need to throw rocks at the enemy. And so what do I mean by all of these, right? The first one is encourage their dreams. One of the things it talks about in the book is a lot of times what parents, we don't mean to, we want the best for our children. And our children have dreams. Sometimes they have crazy dreams. I remember I had a dream of playing in the NBA when I was a kid, right? My son would love to play in the MLB and he wants to do these things. I have a nephew who wants to play in the PGA Tour. And we look at some of these dreams and we say, that's crazy. These are crazy dreams. And so as parents, sometimes we want to try to help our kids by not encouraging them to dream for something that may not be attainable. And that's kind of wrong, because what happens when somebody comes along and says, yes, you can do that. You can get to the NBA. You could get to the major leagues, or you can do whatever you want in life. And I'm going to encourage you to do that. You just have to work for it. You have to make a plan and you have to go after it and you have to focus on that. And when somebody comes to encourage their dreams, who do you think is going to have more authority in their life? You as a parent who discouraged them from that, or this perfect stranger who encouraged their dreams? They're going to put more faith in that stranger because that stranger is giving them a chance to get what they want. And so encouraging dreams, whenever we're doing our marketing, if we can think about the dreams that our customers want, what we can provide with our product and encourage their dreams, that's a great message to use as a hook or as a story to tell them. The second thing is justify failures. And when we think about failures in our lives, a lot of times it's important. It's important that we take ownership of our failures. But how most people think is that that failures are not our fault. And when we look at justifying failures of people in the past and saying, hey, listen, you failed at this. You have not been able to accomplish this. Whatever this is related to your product or related to your service, whatever, you have not been able to lose weight. You have not been able to gain energy. You have not been able to do things in your past. And it's not your fault. When we say, hey, it's not your fault, it's because of something else. It's because you didn't know this, or because you didn't have this, or because of something. There's something that justifies their failures. And they don't want to say, hey, it's my fault, I did it. Now, in order to take ownership in our life, yes, we have to take that ownership and we have to say, hey, I need to move forward. But if we justify their failures and say, listen, it's not your fault, but here, now that you know this, now that you have this information, you have this product or whatever, now it's up to you to take ownership to that and move forward in life in order to achieve, in order to succeed. And we can help them do that by justifying their failures so that they don't say, well, it's not going to work because it's never worked in the past. Well, it hasn't worked because of this problem that our product or service has solved. The other thing is alleviate their fears. And I think this one we know a lot in marketing, and I don't think we use it enough. But everybody has a fear of something, right? If you're part of an MLM, what's the biggest fear that people have before they join the MLM? Well, it's called the NFL zone, right? The no friends left zone. Well, I have to go to all my friends and family, and I have to beg them to join this club, or I have to continue to talk about this. But when I get through all of my friends and family, if I have nobody left, I can't move forward. And so if you can alleviate that fear and say, don't worry about that, because I have a plan that's going to get you leads and get you people, so you don't have to go to your friends and family, you're going to win. And so you need to alleviate their fear in your marketing message so that they know, hey, I don't have to worry about this. It's taken care of for me. The other thing I talk about is confirm suspicion, right? Confirm their suspicion. Everybody has a suspicion that there is a problem that they have, and they may not be sure of the solution, but they have a suspicion that, hey, something isn't right. And when you confirm that suspicion to them, when you confirm, hey, you're right, this is wrong, there's a better way. There is a way to accomplish this. There is a way to do this. There is a way. Then they say, I knew it. I knew that something was wrong. I knew that something could be done about this, and no one's doing the right thing. And so if you can confirm their suspicions, the last thing is throw rocks at your enemy. And you got to be careful with this one, because I don't mean that you create enemies. But one of the things that you want to do is when you talk about a problem, some of the greatest commercials, some of the greatest marketing out there personifies that problem as one common enemy. You know, we've all experienced this in life, is that if we have one enemy, then we all come together. Even if we have differences, we all come together to go against that, whatever that enemy is. If you have a terrible boss, you could have your coworker, and you'd have coworkers that you don't really get along with, but if your boss is terrible enough, that's making everybody's life miserable, and I hope you don't have a boss like that. Hope you never had a boss like that, and I hope you're not a boss like that. But if you ever had a boss that's like that, then everybody comes together in unity. You know, it's the same thing in war. Everybody comes in unity to fight that common enemy. Everybody in World War II came together to fight the Germans. And even if they're not countries that got along, they still got together to fight one common enemy. And so if we can find that common enemy, so going back to what I was saying, some of the best marketing is when they personify the problem. So when you think about some of the commercials you've seen on being healthy, and they take germs and they personify that germ as a little creature running around. There was a picture I saw. This was one of the best examples of personification I've ever seen in my life. There was a picture. It was an old article, an old advertisement back in the early 1900s that ran in the paper. And it was about a product that alleviated headaches. And what they did is, when you looked at, there's all these cartoon pictures of this product, and the headache was personified as evil demons. And it was a bit excessive, but it got the point. They showed all these demons like drilling in your head and pounding on your head and having hammers and different things that cause that headache. You can just see that happening in your head. And what this did is this was a weapon that fought against them. This literally threw rocks, threw weapons at that enemy and killed them off and got rid of your headache. And so if we can find a common enemy, if we can find that enemy and personify that problem as an enemy and say, we're going to come together and fight that, your marketing is going to be a lot more effective. So once again, this was just kind of an overview of this, but read One Sentence Persuasion and think about these 5 things whenever you're doing your marketing. And I think it's the cornerstone. I think it's one of the cornerstones of your foundation of your marketing that you can create to have an effective marketing program.